wait until you finish dealing with certain circumstances, and then that's out the way. We got to keep everything behind and just look forward to the future. And as you said, this is a JoJo story. You know, everybody goes through something. That's what's going to make them who they're going to be in the future. You know, now you could go any coach in the world that you want to go to.
So first of all, Tank, this is the Tank era. When did this era start?
Coach Calvin Ford is now speaking about why Gervonta Davis left his team, and it makes Tank's recent changes feel even more important.
Because boxing is changing right in front of our face, you know, and everybody's feeling it, you know, so I want to see what's the next waves coming.
For years, Calvin Ford was one of the most important people in Tank's corner. He helped train him, improve him, and build the fighting style that made him so dangerous. So when Gervonta started working with different trainers, fans wanted to know what really happened behind the scenes. That is why Calvin's comments got so much attention. This is not just about changing gyms. It is about trust, growth control, and whether Tank felt he needed a new voice before the next stage of his career. Now, the bigger question is this: did Tank leave because he wanted to improve, or because something inside the team was no longer working? Either way, when Calvin Ford talks, boxing fans pay attention. Then, Jose Benavidez Sr. shared something that revealed a major change in Gervonta Davis's camp. According to the Post, Tank is now training with Jose Benavidez Sr., which means he has moved on from his longtime coach, Calvin Ford.
10, 9, 8, 7, power, 6, 5, power, 4, power, 3, 2, one more.
That is why this story quickly got everyone's attention. Calvin was not just another trainer for Tank. He played a huge role in his success, his fighting style, and his rise to becoming one of boxing's biggest stars. So when fans saw Jose Benavidez showing that Tank was training with him, they started asking what really happened behind the scenes. Did Tank leave Calvin because he wanted a fresh voice? Did he want a new environment? Or is this part of a bigger plan before his next fight? That is why this change matters so much. Tank is not just changing workouts. He is changing the people around him at an important time in his career. When a fighter leaves a long-time coach before a big return, fans always wonder if it's about improvement, problems, or something more. GTD Promotions gave more details about why Gervonta Davis split from Coach Calvin Ford, and the message made it sound less personal and more like a business decision. They tweeted, "I know a lot of people are asking why Gervonta Davis left Coach Calvin Ford. I can't say too much, but Tank made this decision because he wants to build his legacy, become a better fighter, and get the biggest fights possible. This isn't personal. It's business." That tweet changed how many fans viewed the split. Leaving Calvin Ford feels emotional because Calvin helped shape Tank into the fighter he is today. But according to Ellie Terrill, Tank is not leaving out of disrespect. He is making a business decision because he wants to improve and chase the biggest fights available. Then Boxing Massacre gave a much stronger opinion about Gervonta Davis joining Jose Benavidez Sr. He did not see the move as a bad thing. They tweeted, "I don't understand why some fans think Gervonta Davis training with David Benavidez' father will hurt him. Tank is one of the most skilled fighters in boxing. His mentality has always been the question. Jose Sr. can improve that." They also said Calvin Ford became too emotional and that this affected Tank's mindset. In their opinion, Calvin had taken Tank as far as he could. According to Shawn Porter, Gervonta Davis is training with Jose Benavidez Sr. because he feels comfortable with him. That makes the move sound much less dramatic. Shawn believes fighters do not always change trainers because of problems or disrespect. Sometimes they just need a different environment, a new voice, and someone who brings out the best in them. For Tank, feeling comfortable is important because he is entering a major stage of his career. If Jose Sr. gives him the confidence, structure, and energy he needs, then that explains a move. It does not mean Calvin Ford failed him. It simply means Tank believes Jose is the right coach for where he wants to go next.
I feel like he's comfortable with Jose. And just telling y'all what I know, sometimes that's all it takes. Whatever's going to get this light flip up, turned on, and keep it on, sometimes it's comfort. I just need somebody that I feel comfortable with, that I can be myself with, and that, when I'm ready to move, they moving. When they ready to move, I'm moving. And I feel like he thinks he has that with Jose.
Anthony Brenna and Sean Zittel looked at the situation differently. They still believe Calvin Ford was the right coach for Gervonta Davis. In their view, Calvin was not just another trainer. He was part of the foundation of Tank's career. He guided him through important years, understood his style, and knew how to communicate with him better than most coaches. So even if Tank feels more comfortable with Jose Benavidez Sr. now, that does not mean Calvin was a problem. That is why their opinion was more balanced. They understood why Tank might want a new environment or a fresh voice, but they also gave Calvin credit for everything he had already done. To them, Calvin helped build a fighter that fans respect today. That cannot be forgotten just because Tank decided to make a change.
Jose and Tank.
It's their business, but I just don't. I don't add up the beef with him and Calvin Ford, really. I guess Calvin may have done an interview or two that Gervonta didn't like, but it's like, that made
no sense, man.
Look, I remember when I saw Truck Simpson spar before Truck tailed off, when he had promise. No offense, Truck, much love to you. But when Truck was 18, 19 years old, and it was like, oh, this kid, he has talent. He has real upside. He threw his punches in the same way Gervonta Davis did. He had a lot of the same kind of rhythm that Gervonta did, and that's what made me go, Calvin is a good trainer. Even though Calvin didn't move the needle for Jahan Ingram over the weekend. Jahan Ingram lost to Devin Cushing. It didn't look like Calvin had a big impact on him winning, and he wound up losing to Devin Cushing. Devin Cushing, bigger guy anyways. But when I saw Truck do that, I go, okay, so Calvin has an imprint. He has a system.
Then Fennon shared his opinion on why Gervonta Davis left Coach Calvin Ford, and his view is different from everyone else's.
One of the reasons that he's no longer with Coach Kenny and Coach Calvin. And I think it's an important thing to say because it's not all on Coach Calvin, and it's not all on Coach Kenny, and it's not all on Gervonta Davis. I have been paying attention to that camp for a while. I know people in that camp. I know people around that camp. And I can tell you without a doubt that the major issue with Gervonta Davis and that particular camp was the fact that there's so many paid snitches in his camp. It was replete with family members and other people who, whenever they got a piece of information about Gervonta Davis, would try to go out and give that information to somebody else in exchange for money.
According to Fennon, this move may not be only about training comfort or legacy. He believes there were too many people talking, too many leaks, and too many people sharing private information. That changes how fans look at Tank's decision. If a fighter feels that too much information is getting out of the camp, changing teams becomes much more than a boxing decision.
Gervonta is looking up at the internet, seeing what's being said about him, hearing this information coming out about himself, and saying, man, where is this coming from? Originally, and this was a couple years ago, I remember when Gervonta started getting upset with it, and he started blocking people and getting mad about stuff, and he started telling Kenny and Calvin, that basically not to be announcing things, not to say things about who he's going to fight next or what he's going to do next, because Gervonta started getting irritated about that. I also know that Calvin Ford stopped talking to the media for a long period of time. Kenny Ellis stopped talking to the media about Gervonta in that way because they were appeasing Gervonta and Gervonta's desire to have that information kept in-house, right? So to the extent that they were having conversations that Gervonta Davis didn't want to have, they had nipped that in the bud several years ago. However, what happened is you have family members and other members in the gym that have connections with people that have Twitter pages, connections with people that have YouTube pages, and they continued, the people with the Twitter pages and the YouTube pages continue to pay these people money for inside information about Gervonta, and he got very distrustful.
For Tank, privacy is very important. He is dealing with big fight talks, contract rumors, trainer changes, and pressure from every direction. So if he felt that too many people in his old camp were talking about his private business, then leaving Calvin Ford's team may have been his way of taking back control.
The problem with that with Gervonta is when you have spies around him in his family, in the gyms in Baltimore, you have people that leak information that are trying to harm him, right? Because people may be saying, man, where is Gervonta right now? Oh, I can find out where Gervonta Davis is. Get on the phone, call our boy. Is he in Baltimore? Is he? Nah, man, he's not in Baltimore. He's still over there, and he's still in Florida. I heard last time I checked, he was at the gym. I gotta find me. I got him on my Find Me app. I can tell you where he is. And then all of a sudden, you got girls setting him up. And you got girls knowing exactly where he is, what he's doing. They can time him, set him up, all kind of stuff. Because he felt like he got set up in that last crime, in that last case, right? He's like, he can prove that this was a setup. Well, who's gonna help set him up? Well, paid informants in your gym. So that's why a major reason why Gervonta was off looking for somebody else, looking for a new situation. So because he's obviously got, issues in Baltimore, he's got issues in Florida. So he's saying, look, man, I'm about to clear my deck and I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna train with somebody totally different, somebody in a different camp with different people around them that my family may not know, that these people on YouTube don't have access to.
Showbiz the adult reacted to Gervonta Davis, leaving coach Calvin Ford. He believed fans should not judge the move too quickly.
I just saw on Jose Benavidez Sr. Instagram and on his socials, he's showing Gervonta Tank Davis working out in this video and announcing and marketing the new Gervonta Tank Davis on Team Benavidez merchandise. Now, he had a few videos out there showing Gervonta Tank Davis working out and all those things, and I promise you, he could not have made this announcement without Gervonta Tank Davis's blessing. For me, this makes it official, their relationship. And Gervonta Tank Davis and David Benavidez, they've shared their mutual respect for each other. You can tell that there's a genuine like and respect that they have with each other. So I think it's going to be organic. And as far as what to expect from Gervonta Tank Davis going to Team Benavidez, listen, dude, I have personal experience training with those guys and their product in that gym. And I'm telling you, man, what jumps out more than the facility itself and the hyperbaric chambers and shit where you can recover, and of course the food. I mean, it's just chef kissed, beautiful food over there. They definitely getting their grub on. But more than that, more than all of that is really the family culture. Once you become a part of that team, you're like family.
Showbiz said that many people act like they know exactly what happened behind the scenes. But the truth is that nobody knows the full story. He believes Tank wanted a new voice, a different environment, and a fresh start before the biggest fights of his career.
Yeah. Because the family culture is like the biggest part of being there and what makes Team Benavidez unique. But on top of all of that is the work ethic. I'm over there throwing my hands and shit. I mean, I got exhausted quick. And I'm saying, listen, I'm nowhere near fighter shape. But what I'm saying is they're going to teach you form, make you learn it right now, and practice it at a high pace. And that just killed me.
Calvin and Kenny were also spending time training rapper Crazy Rock. Tank may have felt that their attention was no longer fully on boxing. For a fighter at Tank's level, that can make a big difference. He is one of the biggest stars in the sport, and if he is preparing for the biggest fights of his career, he wants everyone around him completely focused on boxing.
When I got jumped in Compton, I didn't have no fear in me, and I basically whooped everybody that intended on jumping me. I left without a scratch. And with all my chains, yeah.
But I mean, you're a gospel singer.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to fight for your life and defend yourself. So I wasn't going to lose my life, so I had to get to my car. Yeah.
That's a tough beginning to a story. No, that really is.
I couldn't believe because I didn't know her. You know what I'm saying? My wife watched her diligently, and I happened to peep at her show, and then she got hot. But when she actually came in this gym, I felt the presence.
I mean, champions have trained in this ring, and this is where you're training now, and you're going to be fighting at Harris?
Yeah.
I mean, from being jumped in Compton to now signing a pro contract.
That is why some people believe Tank felt that his career was no longer the main focus. If his coaches were spending time with Crazy Rock while he was getting ready for major fights, Tank may have felt that things had changed. According to a boxing news page, Calvin Ford said Gervonta Davis's problems with him, and Kenny Ellis reached a breaking point after they started training Krazian Rock. Tank believed they were spending more time building their own fame and working with other people instead of focusing on his career. At the same time, the boxing world is talking about Gervonta's return to the ring. Gary Russell Jr. believes Tank still has all the talent in the world. He has the power, speed, timing, and boxing IQ to beat almost anyone when he is fully focused. But after changing trainers and dealing with all the outside noise, fans are now waiting to see which version of Gervonta Davis returns.
If Pitbull fight me and I spank his ass, then what he gonna say? And let's see whose performance is more dominant. Since at this point, clearly motherfuckers ain't trying to willingly just fight me. I gotta beat somebody ass that you can, you know what I'm saying, to show you that I beat his ass better than you. But if we can do that, that's cool.
So you go to 40 to fight Pitbull Cruz at 40?
I'm a fighter. I'll fight him. Would I fight him at 40? Yeah, I'll fight him at 40. You know, would I campaign at 40? No, I wouldn't.
But for him,
him, personally,
yeah, it's different.
Fuck yeah. I campaign at 40 just for that. I see him at 40 specifically for that, and then I go right back down to 35.
You know, me asking certain fighters about that comment that, you know, Tank said, I think I asked Matias. Matias said, you know, most likely Tank seen something in that performance, so that's why he said he would want to come back to fight Pitbull Cruz. What do you think that is, if that is the case?
I mean, he probably seen how easy it is to be able to outbox Pitbull. He's slow in his feet. He's a good man. Don't get me wrong.
Like, it's not the same Pitbull as the one that he fought before?
Greg Hackett gave a strong warning about Gervonta Davis's return. His message was simple. Someone is probably going to get knocked out.
What do you think about his return?
I mean, I'm just happy Tank coming back. Tank's excited. All the guys are excited, but Tank, there's always a big question mark when Tank get in the ring. Somebody about to get knocked out. I mean, I just hope he's a good guy. Somebody, you know, we can respect. I mean, he's been off for a while. How long has it been? Year and a half? 2 years?
It's been a year.
Year?
Yeah, he's only fought once in I think like 2 years though.
He fought a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, and I might for Pitbull after that. Yeah. All right, yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a real good one. It should be one of them, though. It should be one of them or somebody. I'm not really hyped about Pitbull if it is Pitbull. You know what I mean? I can't say I'm hyped about it.
Then Bill Haney spoke about a possible Gervonta Davis versus Devin Haney fight, and his message was clear.
We want to make you a believer, and we want to do all that we can do to make these big, bad fights happen. And I think that that's what Devin has shown. You know, on the list, Tank Davis, he sets at probably the number one. I mean, we've been had back and forth. I think that when you talk about him fighting a Jake Paul, if that was realistic, there's no realistic weight that Jake Paul could have ever come down to Devin's walk-around weight. So I consider this as real. Me and Al have had discussions. That's made it even more real. Never has anyone said anything about any dehydration, rehydration, or anything for that matter. So I think that it should be, and what it should be, is a fair fight. You know, and that weight is to be determined. But it won't be anything under 144 pounds for nobody in the world.
Yo, Bill.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, my man?
Hey, King.
That's Dre.
It's Berto.
I know. King Dre.
That's right. Hey, yo, so recently you said something. You said that Shakur would be easy work for Devin. That sounded crazy to a lot of us. Is that you just speaking that way?
Well, it's harder. Listen, it's harder to get him in. It's harder to get him in the ring. It's been a fight to get him in the ring. I think that's going to be the hardest part for Debo to get him in the ring than to actually be in the ring.
On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson is also a possible opponent for Tank. Max Kellerman shared his opinion on a potential Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson fight and said it would be one of the biggest style matchups in boxing.
Shakur versus Tank Davis. Tank never seemed particularly interested in making it happen. But since then, Shakur has ascended and now would seem to offer Tank a bigger reward for the risk than used to be the case. Shakur Tank, is that still the biggest of all the possibilities in and around this weight class? Or has it been supplanted by Shakur and Devin?
Great point. You're right that Shakur has really elevated himself to a point that Tank would probably consider it, especially after the way Tank struggled against Roach. But I still think the biggest fight in this questionably the rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. We can't forget that.
Meanwhile, Terence Crawford explained why he believes Shakur Stevenson would beat Gervonta Davis if they fought. He also spoke about why Tank may never choose to fight Shakur.
If Tank get to pick his opponent, he would do it. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Y'all got into it on social media around that time. Y'all was doing the back and forth. Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens, or is it like?
I just really don't like that dude.
Why, dude?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
It's not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him. You know, I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him. You know, like he got a lot of security guards around him, and he know, you know what I mean, he's in the limelight and stuff like that, but in certain situations he wouldn't be acting like that.
Then Carmelo Anthony asked Shakur Stevenson the question boxing fans keep asking: will you ever fight Gervonta Davis? Shakur did not sound like someone avoiding the fight. He made it clear that Tank is one of the biggest names in boxing, which is exactly why fans want to see the matchup. But Shakur also knows this fight is about much more than calling someone out. It depends on timing, business, weight, money, and whether both sides truly want to make it happen.
Do you ever think we'll see you in Tank, realistically?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't really like talking about him.
Yeah.
Cause like the way that he move is goofy to me. Like it's some weird shit. So I really don't like speaking on him. But like, if same thing that
fighting perspective.
Same thing that I said with T.O. If anybody got issues with me or feel some type of way about me, you could come see me on fight night and resolve every issue that you got. Yeah. I stand by that with anybody.
Shawn Porter also gave a prediction for a possible Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson fight.
It's gonna go in there and just knock out Shakur. It's gonna
That's not gonna happen.
But it didn't take. It should have taken this fight.
I knew he couldn't.
For people to realize.
Yeah.
Right.
I knew that too. But yeah. Shakur is a defensive specialist.
And I've been saying this for a long time. If you pay attention to how Tank would react whenever Shakur's name came up, I was like, yo, something that Tank knows that most people don't know or understand. There's something that he sees in Shakur. It could be the fact that Shakur was a 2016 silver medalist. You know,
he got a lot to do with it.
He's that, you know, the silver child of the country, and you know, there's no telling. But this is what I've always known. It ain't just a big straight left or a big right hook coming from Tank that's going to end that night. That night is going to be the most strategical you've seen both these guys ever be in a fight. I don't know if we're going to ever get it.
I think we will.
You think we will, huh?
For sure. Who else is there if Tank trying to prove he's still the man? Who else you gonna fight?
I try to get a message to Tank for him to like make sure he understood. Like when you get past this legal situation, he's feel me on this. Tell me if y'all feel me on this. He's gonna be just like Mike Tyson was when Mike came out of jail. Everybody
gonna be waiting for him.
Mike was the meanest thing before he went away.
Make sure to check out our other videos on the channel.